Welcome everyone to an Insightful Accountant webinar. Today's topic is practice management mastery for solos and small firms. My name is Sandi Leyva, and I will be your MC as well as your presenter today. A little bit about you. I'd like to find out, I hope you don't hear the rain that's in the background. I'm right by a window. So hopefully you can hear me okay without the rain, but if there is a little bit of static, it could be because you might be hearing the rain. Let me know where you're from. Let me know if you're a solo or if you've got employees. Go ahead and type that in the question box. If at any time during this presentation you do have a question, go ahead and type that in too. Great. Sharon, solo from New Smyrna Beach. Michael, Chicagoland, solo. Carrie, solo. All right, great. Thanks, everyone. So hopefully you are an accounting professional. You have your own business. You're looking to grow or improve your business. Could be you're starting your business. It could be you're in your first 3 years. That's okay if you're not, even if you're experienced. I think I was in business 20 years before I really got it going. Hopefully you don't have to wait that long. Maybe I'm a slow learner. But if you're curious about, actually this should say learning more about practice management. My bad, I copied the slide from another webinar. But you're in the right place. If you're interested in learning about improving your productivity and processes, you're in the right place. You probably offer income tax preparation, planning. That's okay if you don't. Maybe you do monthly accounting services for small businesses, mid-sized businesses. You might offer payroll. So if you do, you're in the right place. You might also offer other things like business valuation, personal financial planning. A few of you might offer those. They're a little bit less common. I want to tell you a little bit about me. I am a CPA. I started my practice a long time ago, before some of you were born probably. I started on QuickBooks version 4. Then they went to years, and now I don't really know. I guess with online, they're continually improving it, so it doesn't have a version number anymore. But one of the things I did, I lived in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and it seems like all the clients that wanted to work with me were in suburbs that were like 20 or 30 minutes. So I was driving around town. I couldn't figure out how to generate enough revenue with that model. I charged by the hour. I really didn't have any kind of process in place. I just went to the client site and answered their questions and then went home. So there's a lot I had to learn in terms of the business model that I was using. Just really didn't work very well for me. Fast forward to today, I don't have an accounting practice anymore. My love is in the area of marketing and technology, believe it or not. And so I have more technology experience than I do accounting at this point. But I also have a really creative mind. My mother was a photographer, so I wanted to make sure to use that part of my right brain. And when the internet started, I launched my first website and my first client website in 1998 or 9, I believe. And then I just really love marketing and website and digital marketing and everything. And I also love teaching. And my superpower happens to be the ability to put myself in your client's shoes in order to figure out what they need from you. And so I use that a lot in my marketing and in my training because I guess one of the things that I do is I spend a lot of time generating courses for you guys to help you run your practice better. And my mantra is to help you work more. Make more, work less, and serve clients better. That would not really be very good. All right, so what happened, between when I was just really a mess and didn't have a profitable business model and today? Well, a lot of learning. And there was a point where even in the web business, I was stuck and I got myself unstuck. I paid a whole lot of money, made a huge time and money investment, got a coach, got training, And that really stepped me up to the next level. And so I'm interested in sharing what I'm teaching and getting you guys unstuck from being a solo and feeling overwhelmed with your time. Do you guys feel any of these that are on this list? If so, go ahead and type in the question box. Anybody feel overwhelmed? Maybe not this time of year, but maybe in March or April or January for the accountants and the bookkeepers. Feel like you don't have enough time. Feel like you're not making enough revenue. Feel like you have trouble finding staff. We hear that complaint a lot lately. Carrie says keeping the joy. Cash flow issues. Maybe not so much as like maybe in the construction business, but maybe. Overwhelmed with technology learning curve, says Joanne. Overwhelming getting started. Yeah, well, that's pretty much it for the first 3 years. Time, says Larry. Often feel overwhelmed. So what I really want to do is help you with some of these things, and that's what I've specialized in the last 10 or 12 years as a coach. So I want to cover a couple of really quick payback things just to give you a taste of what it's like to work with me and that kind of a thing. So one of the things we have to do is we have to break it down. So one of the first things I do is try to get you guys a big win at the very beginning when you start working with me. So what is the thing that really bugs you the most? When it's overwhelm, we've got to really break that down. So is that a time problem? Is that a resource problem? Is that a money problem? Is that a revenue problem? Is that a complicated client that yells at you problem? What is it that's causing the overwhelm? So we've got to define that and we've got to break that down. And what we've got to do is we've got to tackle it one thing at a time. So one of the things you might want to do is figure out what you want to work on first, right? All right, Teresa, you said slow paying clients. So that actually might be the first thing for you. Francis, you said market for clients. Absolutely. If you're starting, getting clients and getting their revenue going is absolutely your first priority. So you definitely have that right. So a couple things for you to think about is there are some places in your practice to leverage. Now, some of this might be more relevant when you're when you've already had your business for about 5 years. But let's go through this. Some of these areas that we can leverage. The very first one is extremely profitable for me when I first implemented, and that was about 5 years ago. And since I've gotten a 20K pickup per year, so this is about 100K tip, at least from my standpoint that I've realized. And that is when you have clients that do come to you, outsource the scheduling to them by having an automated calendar app. Now, we're partners for Schedule Once, but you don't necessarily have to use that technology. You could, and we actually do that. We implement it for clients. But what I'm talking about is a calendar that's in the cloud that you have, that's appointment setting with clients, because you have to meet with, your tax clients, and you have to have monthly meetings with your accounting clients potentially. And so a calendaring app that integrates with the cloud that allows the clients to self-serve is the ideal thing. So let me demonstrate that for those of you that don't know what that looks like. This is our Accountants Accelerator site here. This is our training site. You notice there's a schedule your free consult button right here. That is my calendaring app. So you can have your webmaster put a button on your website that links to the calendaring app. That's just a link. That's nothing fancy or weird or anything like that. Whenever someone says, I have a question, I wonder if I could meet with you, then what I do is I email them back and I send them this link. And this is a link to get on my calendar. And that way, when you click it, when you click that button, you tell us what time zone you're in. And I am in Pacific time, so I'll change that. It'll get, if you're not in the US or Canada, actually, you probably are not my client, but pick your country. And then it is going to integrate with the open times that I have given it slots for. Notice I don't do appointments on Saturday, right? And notice that I need to block out Christmas because I don't have that blocked out, all right? So, but actually you could meet with me Friday. Let's see what available times I have. I have morning and then I have a couple early afternoon left. All right, you see the 11 o'clock doesn't show because I have an 11 o'clock, and the 9 o'clock doesn't show because I have a 9 o'clock already, or I don't know, something like that. So think about how you could potentially do this. And then of course, once I pick one of these, the client is going to put their name and time in, and then it's going to send you an email, and then it's going to update your calendar for the appointments. And what happens is, how many times do you have emails going back and forth to schedule? I mean, this is what my old world looked like, is emails going back and forth to scheduling all this nonsense. And then the client has to cancel, and then you've got 5 or 10 more emails to figure out a new time. Well, all of this is self-serve and outsourced, and the client has control, and they love control. And so it saves admin time. Your admin can do something different, or you can do something different with your time. And for me, that added up to about 20K of my staff time each year in just scheduling meetings. So I want you to think about that. How much do you think a scheduling one's app is? How many of you already have a calendar app that you've automated? Type in the question box. How much do you think a calendar app like this might cost per year for one person on your staff? Anyone want to guess? Joanne says some are free. Yeah, but, oh, Becky says I use one that's $25 a month. That's expensive. Francis says 100 annual. You're right. Sometimes between 100 and 150. Sky says, I have scheduled once, love it, good for you. All right, so if you haven't already done this, this is a huge way to pick up money and time, especially if you're in tax season and you've got back-to-back meetings, that kind of a thing. All right, so that's one way that you can use technology and leverage the efficiency and productivity of your firm. The second one is automation. And there's always another area that you can automate. So I don't care how automated you are, I suspect you could take it to the next level and do very, very well with automation. So really every area of your practice. This includes your marketing, this includes your selling, this includes operations and service delivery, this includes client onboarding, this includes your own back office, accounting, and legal, potentially legal stuff. All areas of your practice can be automated when you think about it. The first step you have to do is you have to build out your processes and figure out what you need. And then you have to go look for apps and get them into the right place. Zapier is a fantastic connector. When we first learned about it, probably 6 years ago, this is another tool that saved my business easily 20K. We do all sorts of things with this in terms of training delivery and also digital delivery and our own processes internally, just all sorts of things you can automate with Zapier. So that's another tool to think about, along with all of the areas that you could automate for your business. There are just so many now. It's just kind of moving in that direction. The more automation we can do, the better. A third area that some people just really hate to do, but it is highly, highly efficient, is building procedures, building templates, building checklists, and documenting procedures. You can't really even delegate to staff until you begin to document your processes. So that's definitely an area, again, where everyone can improve. You know, even if you built a checklist maybe 9 or 10 months ago, it's time to look at it and see if it's changed and see if there are any efficiencies that could be picked up by looking at it. We've done something like reverse engineering. We used to have 42 steps to our website development process. Similarly, you could have 42 steps to your monthly accounting service delivery process for a client. And one of the things that we looked at is we figured out, how can we make this faster? Well, through reverse engineering, we built a bunch of templates that were fully loaded. And we figured out that it costs a lot more money to add things in after the fact to a template than it does to delete things from a template that the clients didn't need, want, or use. And so we do it that way, and I bet we save twice the amount of time it takes to get a website up and running for a client. You can do the same thing for your onboarding process. Once you've written down the steps, you can figure out whether you're doing something that doesn't make any sense. Until you've written it down, you can't measure it and you can't improve it. So the very first step is to start writing things down, and then you can measure and improve and iterate and get better and better at your margins and your efficiency. Right, so those are 3 areas that you can leverage very, very highly. You can do them over and over and over again. The calendaring was a very specific example out of hundreds that I have. I just picked that one. And then automation and generating procedures is kind of more general examples that you can apply. And no matter how experienced or sophisticated you are, you can always improve on those 2 areas of your business as new things come out. Another thing to think about in terms of your business is to look at all the areas of your business, the functions of your business, and what kind of departments, what tasks, what operations you have going within each of these areas. So profitability is what I'm naming the accounting department and the budgeting department. That is, one thing to think about. I like to call it the profitability department instead of the accounting department. Marketing and sales, what kind of functions do you have? What kinds of deliverables, checklists do you have around that? Are they as proceduralized as they could be? Again, you can't improve your process if you don't have it written down and you're not using metrics to measure how you're doing now. So each of these 6 areas, in my opinion, are 6 major places to look in your business to see how you're doing and to see what you're doing. Again, I don't want to get you overwhelmed, but this is the way to move from being an overwhelmed technician with too much work to becoming a proactive entrepreneur, business owner, CEO that's in charge of their business and has it together and is operating that way. You can do this even if you're a solo. You still have to have some level of marketing and sales function in your business. You still have to have a technology function in your business, right? And you may not have employees yet, but at some point you'll have some kind of staffing in HR or resources, and maybe you'll even hire a contractor or something, or outsource to vendors. And that's what it looks like for the first couple of years. Right, and then operations is everything to do with delivering your tax and accounting services. So in each of these areas, there's room for improvement to grow. So how do you kind of measure the maturity of your firm? Well, we've put together an assessment, and it emails you over the next 7 days. It's called Accounting Firm Assessment, and you can go to accountingfirmassessment.com and you can actually go take it. It'll ask you 4 or 5 questions or 6 questions for each of those 6 areas in your business, and it'll give you an individual score for each of those 6 areas. So you want to be honest with yourself, and that could be a way if you're totally overwhelmed and you don't know where to start. You may want to start on, you could start on the highest score, but may be the most opportunity to start on the area where you have the lowest score. And again, it could be that it could be in order to make a change, kind of like for me, I had to totally get out of my comfort zone in order to really get my business to the next level where it needed to be. So this is free. It does ask for your email address, so there is an opt-in. You would get on my email list if you did this. However, it's free other than that. So feel free to help yourself to that accounting firm assessment if you'd kind of like to see where things are with your business. And of course, we have training for each of these areas, depending on which area you may want to focus with. I want to give you one more tip, and then I want to share with you, for those of you that want further resources, I want to share that with you. Any questions so far? Please go ahead and type in the question box. One of the biggest time management techniques that I love is one that I've labeled money makers. I don't know if you'll see that term in conjunction with this anywhere else. This is something I made up. But the question to ask yourself is, what is the highest ROI producing or revenue boosting item that you could be doing in your business right now? What do you think it might be? I would be willing to bet if you looked on your to-do list, it's nowhere to be found. It might be in the back of your mind, but it's something that maybe you just really haven't gotten around to. Maybe you don't know enough. Maybe it's something that takes you out of your comfort zone. Carrie says automation. Francis says lead generation. Okay. What is the highest? And Francis just starting, so that would make sense. Carrie, automation, it could very well be. For me, it's going and calling up another thought leader and doing a partnership, and that could be intimidating for me a little bit. Sharon says sitting down and thinking. Absolutely. Amen to that. Fred says value billing. Jeffrey says process improvements. I think all of these are right. And then, one thing that we need to think about is, why aren't we doing them? We are so busy doing debits and credits and filling in tax forms that we're actually not taking care of ourselves. We're so busy taking care of clients and meeting deadlines for them. But what we need to do is we need to carve out an hour a day, or even 30 minutes a day if you feel overwhelmed with an hour, to just sit and do these money makers, and make some progress. If you do 30 minutes a day, that's 2.5 hours a week that you're making progress toward yourself and toward your own business goals. So think about that. Think about that. This is a huge high ROI thing to do, and so here's what it's not. It's not serving clients. It's not doing something silly like getting your logo design, although I'd love to offer that. It's certainly not reacting to a daily fire, unless, of course, you fix it long term and you put in place so that it never happens again. And typically, money makers is not necessarily anything that's going to be urgent. And a lot of times our brain especially tricks us into feeling good about doing the urgent things, but there's a big difference between urgent and important, right? A huge difference. And so moneymaker is important, but it's never urgent. You know, it never needs us. It's never going to thank us. So our brain might not be all that comfortable doing it because we might gravitate toward the stuff that, you know, gets us a client thank you, right? What it could be, Francis, is finding a mentor. So you're reading my mind here. Could be hiring a coach like I did. Could be joining a mastermind. It could be intentionally meeting a business partner with a high revenue potential. It could be designing a new service. It could be what you guys said, automation. Sharon, sitting down and thinking, absolutely. For Fred, implementing a new pricing method, absolutely. So you're on the right track. The thing is, you've got to figure out how to make time for this and not let all this other stuff get in the way. So yeah, this is a famous quote by me. Keeping busy in our businesses doesn't grow our businesses, right? And so we really have to fight busy and overwhelm to really make any kind of progress and get us out of that stuck. You might be stuck and not even realize it if you're in overwhelm. All right, so figure out what time is comfortable for you. Maybe it's only 30 minutes, maybe it's 45 minutes, maybe it is a full hour to think about these things and schedule it in and, you know, make it sacred. All right, so any questions about that? Thanks for the participation. You guys did a fantastic job. So let's look at some solutions for you going forward. Hopefully, I've given you some food for thought related to, for those of you that are not already doing calendaring. I think a lot of you are, so take a minute and pat yourself on the back for implementing that at whatever point you did. Automation, where can you do some, many of you said you could use some automation support. Developing your processes and learning how to measure them and improve them. By the way, you guys, we run 4,000 clients with 3 full-time equivalents. So I feel like I might be the process queen, even though we're not in the same industry. We do have a very similar service where it's fairly custom intensive, or you would think so. But we've found what makes sense to repeat, and we found what makes sense to standardize, and then we customize the stuff that needs customizing, right? And we do it all in a very streamlined, quick fashion. Hopefully you've also learned some profitability tips. You've also looked at these 6 areas that I've repeated for you. You've got a little survey that you're very welcome to look at. And hopefully if you try Moneymakers over the next couple of weeks, because it really, the sky's the limit in terms of what you can think of to work with on improving your revenue and growing your revenue and that kind of a thing. All right, so thank you for spending time with me. And I do want to, if you have a chance, if you're interested in getting further resources, then next week we're actually going to be doing a course on practice management mastery. I'm going to be talking about this in depth. So instead of getting, a little over 30 minutes with me, we're going to be doing 3 hours. It is 1 hour each day, so it's not 3 hours at a time, which is a little overwhelming, but we're going to do it 3 hours each day. I'm very, very generous with the checklist, templates, forms, handouts. So I think, honestly, I don't know what you guys bill out per hour. Let's say on average, maybe $100 per hour. The course is only $99. So, if you spend an hour designing a checklist that you need to, and I've got it for you, you've already paid for this course. So I would love to see you next week in this course if you're interested in learning more. I'm going to go into detail about processes. I'm going to give you a ton of checklists that'll save you time if you don't have any of your processes documented yet. The price goes up on either December 9th or 10th, but I'd say go ahead and jump in and you can read more about the course using this link here. Let me see if I can get that pasted for you in chat so that you can get to that quicker. All right, there you go. All right, and then, and so this gives you in detail, this is also 3 CPE for those of you that are CPAs, 3 CPE, and you can see the information that we're going to be going through in the 3 hours that we'll be together, and you can also see the time zone that it's in and see if it's right for you. So for those of you where it's right, then feel free to jump in and join me next week for that. If you're interested in some of the other things, Francis, you might actually be interested in a marketing mastermind that we're doing next year. Let me get to that. For those of you that are interested in marketing, then we have a fantastic opportunity that I haven't done in about 4 years now. We're going to have a full year long, get it done, figure it out, finally put it to bed. It's going to be a monthly webinar series where we're going to do probably 45 minutes of training and then 45 minutes of case study, Q&A, coaching, group coaching. I don't think there are going to be a lot of people, so you're going to get a lot of custom attention here. But it's going to finally put to bed what you need to do from a marketing standpoint. So throughout the year, we're going to start with a plan, and then we're going to go through. And yeah, it's a little expensive. I've got some payment plans up right now. We've got 2 levels depending on whether you want private coaching with me or not. But it's really gonna knock out for those of you that want to finally forever and all put behind and get your marketing skills up to speed and stop suffering related to marketing. We've got that going on in January. And then we've got a full new 2020 schedule. You're welcome to look at it. If you want to tell me what your issue is, I love talking with you. So feel free to, again, use my calendar. Use my calendar link, get on my calendar and say, hey, I was on your website. I was on your webinar. What do you think would be right for me? And I'll do about 5 or 10 minutes worth of coaching with you for free. And we'll see if we can get you in the right product that we have to offer. All right. And we have 2 major websites. We have about 6, but 2 major websites. The training stuff is on accountantsaccelerator.com, and the digital marketing stuff is on acceleratorwebsites.com. So if I can help you in any way, then feel free to reach out to me. And Sharon is asking, what was the assessment link? So let me go get that. Accountingfirmassessment.com, I think. Cute. My little I should have had that preloaded. All right. So there you go. I will type that in the chat for everyone. And again, that's free. You do have to give up your email address, but it is free. You can unsubscribe anytime you want, but don't unsubscribe in the first 7 days or you won't get the whole assessment. All right. I hope that helps. I hope that gave you a couple tips, got you thinking. I hope many of you are going to implement the Moneymaker. So please let me know how I can help you in the future. And thank you so much for your time today. Bye, everyone.